Hello guys, welcome back. I'm your host Ben, and this is Who's Clues. So before we do the reveal, let's do a quick recap of the last episode's tale, titled Death in the Ivy. So it was set in Blackwood College University, and our victim, Dr. Amelia Ashford, was found dead, slumped over her desk from cyanide poisoning. And we had our four suspects. We had Clara Dane, the victim's assistant. We had the rival Professor Holt. We had Dean Charles and Olivia Carter, the young investigator. So let's carry on with the reveal. Our detective carefully examines the timeline of the evening, the relationships between the suspects, the clues left behind. She focuses on the glass tumbler, the scent of almonds, and Clara's missing notebook. One critical detail overlooked by most comes to light. Ashford's body was found slumped over her desk, but the poison had been administered through the glass, suggesting she had trusted the person who gave it to her. The detective pieces together the final moments of Ashford's life. The shattered glass wasn't an accident. It was a deliberate attempt to cover up the true method of the poisoning. Ashford was poisoned not by drink, but by the pages of her own book. Clara had laced the pages of Ashford's manuscript with cyanide. Knowing the professor's habit of flipping through her notes obsessively while writing, the broken glass was a red herring. Clara had staged the scene to make it look like Ashford had been poisoned during the drink, when in fact it had been the manuscript. Clara, desperate to escape Ashford's oppressive control and fearing her own academic ruin, she had devised the perfect intellectual murder. She hadn't planned on the shattered glass drawing attention, but when it did, she played the part of shocked assistant. However, Clara's plan unravelled when the detective noticed something odd. There were faint cyanide stains on the edges of the manuscript pages, revealing the true method of the poisoning. Clara is arrested, her carefully constructed facade collapsing as the truth comes out. She confesses that she couldn't take Ashford's abuse any longer and saw the professor's downfall as her own chance for freedom. She had hoped to make the death look like a professional rivalry gone too far, implicating Holt or Olivia. Dean Harrington breathes a sigh of relief as his own secrets remain buried for now, though the detective suspects it's only a matter of time before Blackwood College faces more scandals. As Clara is led away, Olivia watches from distance, notebook in hand, knowing she has another story to write, one that might just expose Blackwood College's deepest secrets after all. Well, that closes that tale. So did you get it? Congratulations if you did. If you didn't, don't worry about it. It's all for fun. I found that one hard and I got the answer right in front of me. So anyway, let's move swiftly on to our next tale. This episode's tale is called A Dark Tide. The setting is in a remote coastal village of Greycliff, perched on jagged cliffs overlooking the sea. The village is known for its fishing industry, ancient traditions, and a long-standing myth about the Greycliff Curse, a legend claiming that every few decades the sea demands a life as payment for the village's prosperity. The story takes place during the annual Fisherman's Feast, a local celebration marking the end of the fishing season, but this year the sea takes more than fish, and one villager doesn't make it through the night. Let's go through our characters. We have Lydia Grant, the victim. Lydia was an outsider who moved to Greycliff 3 years ago, but to run the local inn. She was a young widow, mysterious and beautiful, but her aloof nature stirred rumours in the tight-knit community. We have Thomas Hale, a rugged fisherman and long-time resident of Greycliff. He was Lydia's closest confidant, but their relationship was fraught with tension after a public argument weeks before her death. Eleanor Cartwright, the village's unofficial leader, stern and traditional, she has always warned of the curse and believes Lydia, as an outsider, disrupted the village's balance. Jonas Cartwright, Eleanor's son, a quiet man with a secret. He was seen with Lydia the night of her death, though no one knows what their relationship truly was. Isaac Miller, a former fisherman turned reclusive artist. He's a strange figure in the village, known for his eerie seascapes and isolation. Some say he knows more about the curse than anyone. Let's begin with the events. It's the night of the fisherman's feast. The village is alive with music, bonfires, and the smell of fresh fish. Lydia, who runs the only inn in Greycliff, is last seen on the cliffs overlooking the sea, watching the waves crash against the rocks. By morning, her body is discovered, floating in the surf below. Our detective arrives from the city to investigate what at first appears to be an accidental drowning, but after examining the body, she finds evidence of foul play, a large bruise on the back of Lydia's head, suggesting she was struck before she fell into the water. The death is ruled a murder. The detective delves deeper. She uncovers secrets about the villagers, their beliefs, and their connection to Lydia's mysterious past. Tension rises as the detective begins to suspect that Lydia's death might not have been a crime of passion, but a ritual sacrifice linked to the village's dark history. Now let's go through the clues that the detective finds. We have Lydia's letter, found in her room at the inn, an unsent letter addressed to someone named S. In the letter, she writes about feeling watched and growing fearful for her life. The letter ends abruptly, as though she was interrupted. There was a broken bracelet. Lydia's bracelet, a delicate silver chain, is found near the edge of the cliffs, broken, as though it was ripped from her wrist. It seems to have been stepped on, partially buried in the dirt. There's the bruise on Lydia's head, suggesting she was hit with a blunt object before falling. The blow wasn't enough to kill her, but it rendered her unconscious, leaving her unable to save herself from drowning. There was a fisherman's knot, a rope tied around a post near the cliffs, secured with an intricate knot used only by experienced sailors and fishermen. Thomas Hale is one of the few in the village who knows how to tie this perfect knot. Isaac's painting. Isaac Miller, the reclusive artist, had recently painted a disturbing seascape showing a woman falling from the cliffs, eerily similar to how Lydia was found. The painting was completed days before her death. And of course, the curse legend. Old village records describe a similar death that occurred exactly 30 years ago. Another woman, an outsider, found dead at the base of the cliffs under mysterious circumstances. The locals whispered that the sea had claimed her as part of the curse. Our detective progresses through the investigation and finds further details. The Cartwright family had a secret. They led the village for generations. They had ties to the previous deaths attributed to the curse. Eleanor Cartwright, the current matriarch, staunchly defends the legend, but the detective senses there's more to the story. There's Jonas' hidden relationship. Jonas Cartwright had been secretly seeing Lydia, despite his mother's disapproval. He claims their relationship was loving, but he confessed that Lydia had recently discovered something about his family that terrified her. Jonas insists he didn't kill her, but admits he saw her the night she died. Our detective discovers Isaac's obsession. Isaac's paintings aren't just art, they are visions. The villagers view him as odd, but many believe he has a strange connection to the curse. Isaac had been sketching Lydia for months, but his final painting seemed to predict her death in eerie detail. He claims it was just a coincidence, but the detective isn't so sure. Our detective discovers Thomas Hale's motive. Thomas had known Lydia better than anyone. having taken her under his wing when he first arrived. But after the public falling out, some believe he harboured a grudge. He denies any involvement but admits he was angry with Lydia for planning to leave the village and sell the inn. A betrayal in his eyes. And this is where we will end our tale. So, do you think it was Thomas Hale? He did have the argument with Lydia before she died. Or could it have been Isaac? It's very peculiar that he painted her death days before it happened. Could it have been Jonas? He was secretly seeing Lydia, but seems a bit of an issue that she managed to find some sort of family secret of his. Or do you believe Eleanor, that it's all part of the curse and the curse took her? Well, why anyone is living there with that terrible curse, I don't know. Also, if I was Isaac, I'd start painting lottery numbers. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. You can contact me, tell me who you think the murderer is at whosclues.podcast@gmail.com. Thank you very much for listening, guys. Goodbye.